In 1971, I was in a very tragic car accident where I was told I would never ever walk again or ever be able to have children. My father was killed in that accident, along with our family dog, and the rest of my family also wound up in the hospital with me. I happened to be in the longest, it was 3.5 months, and I saw so many children dying, as well as parents also crying and hysterically sobbing behind closed curtains simply because they just lost their child. But 3.5 months later, I was able to walk out of that hospital very slowly, and years later, I had two incredibly beautiful little girls who are now grown women. It's very difficult to ascertain the lessons that we need to learn or why things happen, and sometimes we can't always understand why things happen. But what I do know is that there are so many gifts in the struggle. But I also saw that so many humans have such a difficult time with tragedy. We are so organically challenged with death and dying, but death and living go hand in hand. They go side by side. They are like cellular sequences to life and living, and we have to accept that this is what life is about. But what we choose to do with it makes all the difference in the world. Years later, my brother was also brutally murdered, and it was just a tragedy that really swept our family into a tizzy, and it was so difficult to understand how that could ever really happen. But what I saw from that is that we have to learn how to love even greater. This is one of the greatest gifts. It's a spiritual love. We can't lose sight of how important it is to recognize that love is the only thing that heals. It is the only thing that heals. And years after that, after his passing, I've had been very fortunate to have him come to me, literally talk to me, coming from the other side where I saw this beautiful white light. It was the most extraordinary experiences that I had, and it made me realize that the love that we have for our loved ones and the love they have for us never ever dies, because they're actually very close. And I want to share with you that if we could have visiting hours in heaven, our hearts would lighten, because hope is what makes the impossible possible. Please know that if you've had tragedy or if you lost somebody very dearly, they're very close to you, and the love you have for them is eternal.